Hello cookies, it's Siri, I am back and today I'm bringing you a review of Little Dragons Café. The game obviously starts at the Dragons Café and you have to pick between two characters, so it's twins, so you have to pick between a boy or a girl, and your mother falls mysteriously asleep or in some type of coma, and the whole point of the game is to wake her up. Of course, it's called Little Dragons Café, so you also have to manage the cafe. And not only you can feed people, but you can also have them sleep over. But don't you fret, you don't have to actually change the bed sheets or take care of the rooms. They just go upstairs and downstairs when they want to, so you just have to feed the guests. What I like about the story is that there is one main story, the one where you have to find the remedy to cure your mother, and you also have the different NPC stories that progress along the main story, and the main story actually depends on all the NPC stories. And you also have your dragon that you first get as an egg, and then the dragon is starting out as a really tiny small dragon, and then in the end it becomes really big. And then of course you have all the exploration and then your own routines. You have so many different things that you can choose to do. In the beginning, I did not really follow the main story. I just wanted to gather ingredients and explore, and nothing really happens. Of course, the story does not progress when you do that, but you're not punished either, or you are not forced to continue the main story. There is a lot of freedom, and sometimes I click way too quickly when the characters are speaking, but it's never really that serious that you miss something. And again, just like with Maranian Tavern story, I like the fact that there is really a deep story behind all the characters. Some of the topics are really intense, and I'm actually surprised that the game seems to be advertised to young children as well, because some of the topics I don't think children would really understand. There are topics of death and grief and regrets and diseases and really heavy topics, and sometimes I thought, wow, this is really heavy even for me. I'm not entirely sure that a child would totally grasp the whole concept, so that's just a word of advice. It's never graphic and terrible, but it's still really deep topics that will make you think very deeply about some aspects of life. When it comes to how the game looks like, I think it is beautiful. At first I was a bit weirded out by the drawing style indoors. I thought it was a bit weird and it looked a bit childish, but I soon got used to it. And the world outside itself is just so beautiful. There are many details that I love. When you fly with the dragon, for example, you can see the wind on the side of the wings of the dragon, or if you fly too close to the water, the dragon's tail is in the water, and you have the change of the time, as in the time of day. So sometimes it's the morning and the afternoon, and you see the sunset, and sometimes it's cloudy. I was not expecting such beautiful graphics and such nice colors and such nice details. There is a moment in the game when I was actually playing on the monitor and I had loudspeakers attached to the monitor as well, so I had a full huge experience and my jaw dropped. I had one of those wow, this is really amazing moments. I just stopped breathing for a second and I was really amazed. So one thing I would suggest is that if you can play the game sometimes on a monitor, you should really try, because I think it's really worth it to really enjoy the full view of how beautiful the game is. Sometimes there are some weird things happening, Like when I kill some of the monsters to get the meat, sometimes the meat falls in weird places that I cannot reach, so on the side of the cliff, and sometimes some of the items just drop in weird locations that are impossible to reach. So I think that's a bit of a flaw. And I also noticed that sometimes some of the grass disappears and it's not visible, but when I walk in the area it says maw, so the dragon can actually maw the grass and you can collect the item, but it is literally invisible. So you have some weird small things like that I have noticed, but it's never really that bad that I thought, oh, this game sucks, it's cheap, it's poorly made. So it's not entirely perfect, but I would still give a 9.5 out of 10 in terms of how it looks like and how it performs visually. In terms of controls and how easy the game is to start and to understand, it's fairly easy. There are not so many things to do. The only thing that is remotely hard is when you start cooking some food, because then you have to use the directional arrows and you have to follow the rhythm. But I noticed that sometimes it works best for me not to listen to the music, and sometimes it works best to listen to the music. So I think that's a preferential thing, and that entirely depends on you. Otherwise, the game is not that difficult to control. You don't have to fight enemies, there is no combat. You have those weird triceratops that try to steal your food sometimes, and once I got cornered by them and I could not escape, and they took all the food that I carried on me, and that really annoyed me. But apart from them, there's no real danger, you cannot die. Your dragon can get tired, but I'm not entirely sure what happens when he's totally out of energy, because I've never let that happen. The music itself is quite chill and relaxing. It can get a bit repetitive sometimes, but it varies a lot depending on the area and the time of day and what you are doing. So of course, if you're in the same area for a long time, then it's going to soon feel a bit repetitive. But if you go around, if you cook, if you do different things, it's different music. And if you also continue the main story, the NPCs come and talk to you and there's dialogue, so it doesn't get boring or repetitive. As usual, I like the fact that I can have a steady routine in the game. That is something that I quite appreciate, if you have noticed. As in, when I start the game, I always go out and collect the eggs, then I harvest the things I have to harvest. At the very beginning, I used to fish every morning as well. And so I really like that when I have a game, I have a safe routine like that. It helps me calm down. And it's the kind of game that I can play while listening to a podcast or listening to music or not listening to anything at all, and you don't need a lot of brain power, but there is usually a sense of progress. I say usually because I feel like sometimes I get a bit impatient and I just want my dragon to grow faster, because I really love the idea of having a dragon and feeding it and seeing it grow, and I just want the story to continue further and faster. And so when I know that I'm soon about to get my dragon to evolve, then I get really impatient and I don't want to wait anymore. But usually it's a game that I like because I can just take my time and chill. You're not going to be surprised if I tell you that I bought the game on sale. I always wait for sales nowadays, because last year I used to buy most of the games not on sale and I was always disappointed. So nowadays I always wait for sales, because I'm thinking, at least if I'm disappointed, which also happened today, I got a game today as I'm talking to you on sale, and the game freaking sucks. It's called Merchant Forest or something like that, and it's just so bad. So I'm thinking, well, at least I got it on a sale. And so I got Little Dragons Café on a sale, and I'm pretty sure I bought it for around 40 to 50 crowns, so $4 or $5. And for that price, cookies, it's amazing value for money. I spent 65 hours on the game. I'm not entirely sure I would pay full price, because I do remember seeing it full price the very first time and thinking, ooh, that looks expensive. And because you don't have so many reviews of it online, and you cannot see so many gameplays, and most of the big channels have not reviewed it, I know that it's hard to just splurge such a huge amount of money on a game that you're not sure about and can't find too many reviews about. So my advice for most games is to just wait for a sale. But if you find this game on sale, and if you like cozy games where you can own a dragon, manage a cafe, and explore a beautiful landscape and then have interesting NPCs and a main story and side quests, then it's really definitely worth it. Of course, if you don't want to wait for a sale and if you're sure that this is the game for you, then I don't think you will regret it either. But if you're not entirely sure, I would always recommend to wait for a sale. But I'm still happy that I bought it on a sale because now the value for money is 20 out of 10. There are some things that I wish they had added, like different seasons. I feel like the island would have looked so beautiful in different seasons, as in if you had spring and winter. I also wish that you could mine and that you could fight some enemies, as in have some moments where you can use your dragon maybe to fight, or you yourself can fight some enemies. Turn-based, I prefer turn-based, it's more relaxing, and then you can level up and collect items and explore dungeons. Of course, that's not the game it is, but I feel like if they had added that element, it would have been so freaking perfect. I reckon that that would have attracted way more people as well, because then you can do so much more with the game, and you can also have that sense of achievement that some people like, with battling and leveling up and collecting weapons and collecting potions. That would have been really amazing. One fun feature in the game is that you can also customize the color of your dragon depending on what you feed it. Yellow is the color that I really wanted my dragon to be, but I just could not make it happen. I'm not entirely sure how to do it. So if you have played the game and you know exactly what to feed the dragon to make it yellow or orange, please let me know. And that's it for today's review. I hope you cookies enjoyed it. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up and subscribe if you don't want to miss the upcoming videos. Also, if you have any tips and clues about housing in Berlin, if you're looking for a flatmate, if you know of anyone who's looking for a flatmate or who is renting their apartment, please do let me know, because so far Laika and I are still pretty much homeless. And until next time, I will see you cookies very soon. Bye bye.